Hey Ocearch fans, one of our adult male white sharks named Contender recently had his PSAT tag detach and send us some data. And I wanted to share a little bit with you about what a PSAT is. So this is an alternative tag type, one that we do not put out on every white shark. The term PSAT stands for Pop-Up Satellite Archival Transmitting Tag. And unlike a spot tag, this type of tag doesn't transmit any information while it's attached to the shark, but rather it archives information, specifically data on water temperature, water depth, and light. And we're able to program these tags to detach from the shark after any time. Could be 3 months later, 6 months later, or even a year. And at that point, the tag has a corrosible linkage, and that will burn and allow the tag to completely separate from the shark. It will pop up or float to the surface and then begin transmitting a summary of the data that it's stored. Because these spot tags can only give us a location when the shark comes to the surface, we often end up with gaps in time and space. But the PSAT track gives us a continuous track. We get multiple locations for each and every day. But just as important is the fact that the PSAT tag measures depth and temperature. And that gives us a window into what the shark is doing when it's below the surface. And that's really important so we can see how vertical habitat changes from location to location and at different times of the year. Now, if we're lucky enough and recover one of these tags, then we can do a direct download and get all of the archived information that came from that tag. The results from White Shark Contender's PSAT provide some interesting insight into his biology. For example, he spent time on each day at or near the surface. And overall, he spent about 14% of his time in near surface waters. But he also spent a lot of time at depth. Contender dove down to at least 2,355 feet. And overall, he spent about 25% of time in water deeper than 650 feet. So this shows a lot greater use of deep water if we compare it to other white sharks that are smaller, juveniles and subadults. Now his average depth was about 384 feet. We also learned about Contender's temperature preferences. He spent time in a very wide range of temperatures from 42 to 83 degrees Fahrenheit, but his comfort zone seemed to be at about 65 degrees. That was the average temperature during the whole course of the track. So using a combination of tag types, including PSATs, maximizes what we can learn from each and every shark we sample. It accelerates white shark science and ultimately helps protect these apex predators.